I met Agnieszka first time in '93 in Helsinki when Irmeli Kokko, who was then the director of MOO, our artist association, had organized the Babylon Tower performance event, and Agnieszka was one of the guests because Wyspa Gallery, that she was one of the founders and pioneers of in Poland in participatory art and the performance art, and we became friends right away with common interest. And then '96 she invited us to have our Every Moment installation and performance in Wyspa Gallery, and that was the big word then about our video diary. And 2000 we were there again with the community project, and 2005 that was the first time we organized this asking for advice video screening performance, and that was the basis for my doctorate work. And now I'm really happy that she is following the new phase again when this asking for advice is going to the internet and the whole video diary.
No, so when I watched then once, several days, and not like, every day one, after one.
What kind of, I would say, okay, you know us, that's one reason that you watch them, but do they have a kind of function, like, the way that people watch the Netflix or something else, that does it serve any kind of this kind of, function in your free time life?
Yeah, it's nice to see, nice to see how the life is going on, and the changes of seasons, the occupations, then of course the situation with the virus that you were discussing at home, how everything, the limitations, the lockdown, and how you deal with this problem. So it's very interesting to compare, the situation, and yeah. With Marek, we are just reading books of John Steinbeck, and I can see a lot of similarities of how John Steinbeck,
yes.
The Grapes of Anger,
okay.
Remember?
Or interesting, yes.
East from Eden,
yes.
etc., etc. So it's about small towns and farmers' life in California, in the south of US.
Yes,
and
right.
it's very, I can see a lot of similarities in the narration.
Mm-hmm. So there comes a narrative for you. I mean, because this is so fragmentary. Because if we compare with the Steinbeck, he is really kind of fulfilling our expectation of this kind of a plot type of. But how do you describe the narration that you find in the video?
Actually, I don't think big difference between the literature narration of Steinbeck, because it's also episodes, and he shows the fabula, yes, the plot through through episodes. So it's you can never express the real continuation of life. How you create the narration, this is for me always very interesting. How do you structure the narration about everyday life, about this texture of everyday life, how you work with this material? If you treat everydayness like a material and you want to narrate it, of course you must make decisions, what you do and what you avoid, and for me it's very interesting to see and think why this way, for example, you do this. about structural aspects of your filming and representing the reality. Not only what happens is staying in my mind, but also I am thinking quite a lot of what you are showing and why you are showing this and not that, for example. And I'm thinking a lot about directing, how much you direct,
Yes.
And how much you perform. Because I can see it. I remember your first performances from your first exhibition at the Vispa Gallery.
Yeah, you mean when we are eating?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And I can see the same way of performativity now, that I can see that Lea is saying something consciously. In this moment, she's saying this and not behaving different way. So it is staged somehow. I can see that you treat your home in this moment when Pekka is filming, and I can see that you consciously treat the space of your home as a stage, and you say something by purpose. It's not something like whatever, Tini was small, and you are sitting on the veranda and eating something, and there was a man who is asking if Tini was performing. Do you remember this?
Yeah, it was the grandfather, yes. And he was saying that, but is she playing?
Exactly. So it was very meaningful for me. It was very meaningful for me about just this playing. Who is playing here? I was also watching that the boys and Rebecca and Uko, they were running with this cloth, a red cloth.
Yes, right.
Yes, and you were watching through the glass window, through the window. Then how much of this was telephone? And I was also thinking how much they were aware that you were filming, and they wanted to perform, and they were behaving like actors for the film. And I was also thinking about this. This is maybe a very strange idea for you, what I will say, but it was my my impression that if you perform for the sake of this film, video diary, if you perform in your everyday life somehow, because of some reasons, so it is about aesthetics of everyday life, that you want to somehow obtain some aesthetics in the chaos of everyday life. And I was thinking, why are you doing this? And then I remember that in winter time, I was watching a film on HBO, Two Popes, and there was John Malkovich playing a pope, one of popes, and he was an aristocrat that was became a pope, and he told that I even wrote that the aristocracy polishes the form of everyday life to the extent possible until it reaches a metaphysical level. So, and it was kind of very interesting concept for me. And now I'm thinking that you are close to this attitude with trying to polish somehow to find the aesthetics of everyday life, which is chaotic, which is dirty, has a lot of unpredictable moments. It's very difficult to find an order. You never know what you can expect next day, but you try to make an order and find a certain aesthetics in this when you try to direct a little bit this chaos, and say some sentences by purpose, that are prepared in advance and behave in this way, to select such scenes and skip other scenes, So I was thinking that it is close to what John Malkovich told about aristocracy, that they also polish the form until the level of metaphysics, which is, You can see it from scenes how you prepare the scenes that you are filming. That, for example, there are children in the background watching TV, and you are with a type machine, for example, or a computer or whatever. Or Leah is reading some theoretical texts and trying to discuss with you, and so that I know how difficult it is. That it is almost completely impossible to read theoretical text when children are crying or running around. But you try to, even if it looks artificial, you try to direct such scenes purposely, consciously to show such it is like if you painted such a picture, like Manet was painting this breakfast on the grass. Yes.
Yes.
So they were men dressed and one naked woman with them, and you can ask. And there was in the background, there was one woman who was washing. She was also, this one was dressed and she was washing some clothes. So you can ask why Manet arranged such people and in this order. He wanted to say something. And this is the same for me when I am looking that you, Pekka, you decided to arrange the scene in this way, that this is Leah who is reading theoretical texts, and then there is this craziness of everyday life with children jumping and being bored or running around. That you must have had a purpose to film such a scene and to decide that this scene will look like that, because you needed, it was your dream to make it possible. I know that it is impossible to read theoretical things, when children are running around and screaming, but it was your dream to have life like that.